I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next-door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I
was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals, but I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to grads of life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life.
That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
Know the sudden signs: face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
Living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
or if that resume was from someone who
Worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
we rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways.
That taught me a work ethic.
That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
Worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
we rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
And so, goodbye. And good night, bang.
Settle! Because I'm better than you, and you know it. Yes, what the Rock is cooking.
Now welcome to Off the Mats with Alex Lowe's and Josh Silverberg.
All right, everybody. Good afternoon. You are listening and watching us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Welcome to another edition of Off the Mat, where we only talk professional wrestling here every Saturday at 12 o'clock. And if you don't know by now, so many platforms you can listen and watch us on: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Don't forget to download our app. If you have an iPhone, download it on the Apple Store. And if you have an Android, Google Play. Just type in WWSRN. Did I mention it's free? I did not, because I wanted to emphasize that it is a free app. You can check out our show schedules that we have, all the articles and everything like that. Hopefully everybody is doing well. I'm Josh Silverberg here in New York, hosting as always. With me, my tag team partner. He's down south, and I'm sure very sunny, very humid, or it could be raining. We never know. In Florida, Mr. Alex Lowe's. What's happening, man?
Nothing much. It's been a great week. A lot of topics to talk about, including New Japan. And weather actually today down here in Florida is pretty nice. Sunny, not a cloud in the sky.
Yes, love it. Alex Lowe's, the weatherman, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. He's getting a promotion. He's going to be our official weather every week. But a happy 4th to you, bud. And hopefully, when you go out today, stay safe. All the fans out there, please stay safe. Please stay healthy. Please be careful. And just be cautious what you're doing. And before we begin, I love Alex going with the old school NWO, New World Order shirt. I took the liberty of going very patriotic today. I got my red, white, and blue Bullet Club shirt, as you can see. And then behind me, I have my American Nightmare Cody shirt. and my One Last Ride Dustin Rhodes shirt. Who gets more American than the Rhodes brothers, right? The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes' two sons. Can't get more patriotic than that.
No, definitely not.
Sorry, Alex. Before we begin, I do want to point out our phone lines are still down. So if you do have a question, please, you could talk to us on Facebook, right in the comments section. You could send us an email. Alex, what's the email quick? I think it's offthemat44@gmail.com.
Yes, offthemat44@gmail.com.
We will answer your questions. We will get our phone lines up and running eventually. We're just, like I said, we will get there. And when we do, you guys and gals can call it anytime you want. So let's get into it because as the saying goes, as I said last week, so much to do. But so little time we have, and there's a lot to digest this week. And we flipped the script. I think it was yesterday or the day before. We flipped it. We said, you know what? Let's go with a more recent topic. Let's go the route of having instead of doing an AEW NXT review, which we'll do right after. Let's go to the one that happened literally yesterday, and that's going to happen next week right before our show on Saturday. We're going to get to the New Japan Pro Wrestling Cup. And the finals are set. The Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, is going to be in the finals, and he's going up against the King of Darkness, Evil, after Evil defeated the Cold Skull Sonata, who was Alex's pick. But don't worry, Alex, you weren't the only one that lost in this tournament because my pick, the Ticket Time Bomb, Hiromu Takahashi, lost as well. And I thought both matches were excellent. I thought they were great. Alex, my question to you is two of them. What were your thoughts on the matches? And what are your thoughts on the tournament so far as a whole? Have you loved what they've done?
Absolutely. I've loved what the New Japan Cup has brought this year. We had the junior heavyweights that were entered in the number of 30 competitors that were starting in the New Japan tournament. And a lot of my favorite matches were the physical ones, blow after blow, and New Japan definitely delivered with this tournament, which has to be the best so far this year, in my opinion.
I'm with you 100%. I think when you look at everything going on, and we have a comment from Top Fan, and I'm going to say it, saying Rainmaker will win it all. So they have their prediction right there. They think Kazuchika Okada is going to win it. Now, I went the crazy route, and you can also, really quick, you can listen to my other show that I do, Takedown Breakdown, every Sunday night on YouTube, and also on 90.3 FM with myself, Lyle Gillen, Scott Nabb, and Justin Caracciolo. And we had the topic on the show a couple weeks ago, and everybody was picking on the show Ibushi, Okada, and I wanted to go different. I don't like to be the same. I like to do something a little different. And the one thing that I've learned, Alex, and I think we agreed on this together last week, it's the sense that both the only New Japan is the only, I think, wrestling brand that doesn't spoil anything. Ring of Honor, AEW, Impact, WWE, NWA, and there's no knock on them. It just happens that that's the case because they're also in America and there's more ways of getting their information. New Japan doesn't spoil a single thing.
No.
And they swerve us. They swerve us every time. As I said last week, Will Ospreay was a guy that was hot going into the he was hot in the Super Juniors, won. I thought he would win the G1. He did not. It wound up being Ibushi. So they swerved me there. Then I thought Ibushi was going to win at Wrestle Kingdom. He not only lost to Okada, he lost to Jay White the next night. So they swerve us. They kind of swerved us a little bit in this tournament with Evil getting to the finals. But I think deep down I knew Okada was going to get there and I knew he was going to beat Takahashi. But I just wanted to be different and maybe think, oh, they're going with the hot hand, maybe we'll see. And I'm excited for the finals. I think the finals are going to be great. I thought both matches were spectacular. I thought they did a great job producing them. I thought Okada Takahashi really set the bar. Sonata Evo was very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely was. And the one thing that shocked me the most was when Hiromu got knocked out. And many fans, including you, were speculating Hiromu would make it through to the final. I give Hiromu credit for getting to the semi-round as far as he did. But I had a small feeling that also my pick, Sonata, wasn't going to win after the brutal chair shot and reverse DDT he took.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting that you brought that up, Alex, because that leads me into my next question to you was the way Evil won. Now, the thing is, Evil and Sonata have won multiple IWGP Tag Team Championships together. They're also partners and teammates in LIJ. I'm curious, do you think this is going to add some problems in LIJ with the way Evil won his match, low blowing Sonata, hitting him with the chair, taking some undermined developments, because he kind of did that same thing with Yoshihashi, and it was kind of a squash match. So do you think this is a concern for LIJ, with both Sonata and Evo?
I think definitely it's a concern. I feel like it's going to cause some friction between LIJ with Sonata and Evil. I feel like Evil and Sonata are going to somehow still get into a argument about who should have won in that tournament.
And really quick, Roxana makes a comment. She says, "I think Rainmaker is a new school to Jerry." It's an interesting comparison. I think Okada's a little more athletic than Tajiri is, and also Okada's a heavyweight, whereas Tajiri was kind of a cruiserweight. But I get what you're saying for sure, and thank you for the comments. And for any more people that want to comment, you can on Facebook. We will mention them on the show. Email us too, Alex. We'll answer the emails for sure, right, Alex? You have it open already, ready to go. So if you have questions,
definitely,
comments,
I have it open.
We will answer them. But we'll see going forward. I think what's also interesting is next weekend is kind of a all New Japan weekend, because you have the final set for the New Japan Cup on the 11th. So before our show goes live next Saturday, I can tell you this right now, Alex and I are 100% going to be watching the finals, because we have to talk about it. We have to see who's going to win. Is it Okada or is it Evil? And it's interesting because then the next day, on the 12th, they're going to have Dominion at Osaka Joe Hall. So you won the New Japan Cup, Alex. You don't really get to celebrate for that long because you're facing Naito the next day for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Do you like how the scheduling was done it that way, where the winner of the Cup goes right to facing Okada the next day?
I like how it's set up. I love the idea of how they're going right towards Naito after the final round. And I think Okada is going to pull through. I think it's going to be him that defeats Evil. And it's going to be interesting to see where Okada and Naito go, how they perform in the championship.
So the interesting thing is, and I want to give a quick shout to Lyle Gillen, who's one of my co-hosts on Takedown Breakdown. He mentioned this to me, and this was a true story. The Olympics were supposed to happen in Japan, remember, Alex, this year, and they got moved, obviously, the next year. So Okada was supposed to be the one that carried the torch in the Olympics. So Okada was going to win both the, I believe, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and what's the other chip? I believe it's the Intercontinental Championship. That's also, I think, that he holds, right? Naito right now, he's double champion.
Yes, he's double champ. He's both IWGP Intercontinental Champion and the Heavyweight Champion.
Yes. So he was supposed to carry the torch into the Olympics with both belts. And he did not. So my guess is, when I look at how it's going to go, I think Okada's going to win it on Saturday. And then I think he's going to beat Naito for the Heavyweight Championship on Sunday. That's my prediction on where I think they'll go with this, because, again, that was the original prediction going forward. But, of course, COVID-19 happened. The Olympics had to be moved. And we'll see going forward how they do this, but I like the scheduling. Now, I'd be very surprised if Evil won, but at the same time, if you look at the way Evil's been winning his matches, he's using chair shots, low blows.
The guardrails even. He's using the guardrails, the wood outside on the floor.
Yeah, everything. He's using all of it. Every single part of the ring, he's using it legal and illegal. And it's interesting because I wouldn't be shocked if he tries that against Okada, you know? And I think we could see an all-out brawl. I'm kind of curious what the rest of the Dominion card looks like. I'm excited. I'm curious if they're going to do more of those six-man tag team matches, if they're going to do more, if they're gonna do some maybe storylines. Like I 100% can also see like the Golden Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi going up against Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi. And that's another thing I really want to mention because we only have a few more minutes left. Is how is it, how Tai Chi was able to get to the Elite Eight? And the reason why they did that is because they wanted to start a storyline. My guess is to have him beat Tanahashi and Ibushi, but have Zack Sabre help him. Therefore, it gives them an opponent going forward for the tag team champions at Dominion. So I'm kind of curious. And Roxana says, the only thing I don't understand about New Japan Pro Wrestling is the rankings, how they rank their wrestling over there. So it's, they do it like AEW does a straight ranking. It's a great question. So thank you for commenting. It's an excellent question, actually. Definitely. Because it's interesting because NXT does kind of the same thing. They don't really have a ranking system. The only wrestling company that has a real ranking system, and it's not even used some of the time, is AEW. Because I look at it like this. Take Fyter Fest Night 2, for example. We're going to preview it. I think the number one contenders or number two contenders right now, what the Best Friends lost, is the Dark Order. But the Dark Order is already in the match. Therefore, Private Party's getting the opportunity to challenge. So the ranking system is kind of it's interesting, but they do a lot of tournaments, Roxana. They do a lot of tournaments to determine who is going to be the next challenger. Sometimes you'll get a person come out and challenge the champion, like a Minoru Suzuki last year challenged Okada. But most of the time, it's all based on tournaments, like the G1, like the G1, the New Japan Cup, the Super Juniors. They have so many different ways of making new contenders going forward.
And then they also do the World Tag Team Tournament that they have every year.
Yeah. And also, by the way, if you get a chance, I mentioned this to you Alex before we move on to our AEW NXT review. Check out the new Lion show that they have on New Japan World. I watched it last night, and Carl Fredericks, man, that kid, he's going to be a really good stud. He's 29 years old, big guy. He pinned Rocky Romero in the tag team match yesterday between him and TJP versus Jeff Cobb and Rocky Romero. Carl Fredericks, it's basically all wrestlers that are in the dojo. Sometimes they go against each other. Sometimes they go against veterans. So I think it's a great show. I think it's an excellent opportunity for these kids that are over in LA doing stuff. So check it out Friday nights. It's only about 35 minutes long. And they only have about matches. So it's really quick, short, and it's really good. So definitely want to check that out. But let's move on to our next topic. NXT and AEW. You had Fyter Fest Night 1 and you had the Great American Bash, and there was a lot of action that happened. You had the main event tag team match for on AEW, along with a couple of things. You had the opening match. I thought both opening matches, Alex, were spectacular on both shows. You had the Women's Fatal 4. I was so happy that Tia Knox won. Coming back from her injuries that she's had, I think that she's somebody that has grown so much on the roster in the last year. She's really come into her own. I love it. And I like that her and Dakota Kai were the final two, because that rivalry, I think, has come to fruition at this point. I think it is what it is.
Just the only thing about Tegan Knox and her winning, I just feel like it could have had more background build towards that match, that women's fatal four-way.
You think it was too quickly done? Like, do you think they just threw it together and said, here you go?
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like they just went, hey, here's a match, and let's go with that. Not really a story behind it.
Well, I like the fact that I like the fact that they had Tegan win. I'm happy. I'm not a big Candice LeRae fan. I don't think she has much personality to me. I think she's very dry, and she's just somebody that, they try to make her a heel and a face, and for me, it just doesn't work. She was great on the indies, but doesn't work here. Mia Yim is good. I think she's somebody that I think is still developing, but she's had some excellent matches. Dakota Kai has immensely improved, Alex, especially as a heel. She fits the heel persona so much more. But I wanted Tegan to win. I'm a big Tegan Knox fan. I think she's somebody that has come back from so many injuries, that has produced the last few months. And then you had the opening match too on Fyter Fest, Jurassic Express versus MJF and Wardlow. And this has to be said: MJF, yes, his team lost, but he did not get pinned, and it wasn't a singles match. So therefore, in his singles career, he's still undefeated.
Yes, and his opening match promo was very, very good. I loved that was just phenomenal how he put it all together and worded it. It was great.
Like that, it was perfect.
It was spot on.
Yeah, I thought AEW had their best women's match to date. It honestly wasn't even close. So, Shida is by far there's no debate. She's the best women's wrestler on the roster. It's not close. Don't give me an argument. But what I was very impressed with was how I was not the biggest Penelope Ford fan. I felt she was very slow in the ring. She was phenomenal on Wednesday. That was amazing performance on her part. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I thought it was great as well. Both women had grit and determination throughout the match. The moves were hard contact. It was back and forth, and they really tore it up in that ring.
Yeah, for sure. I also was a big fan of the main event tag team match. Cody, we'll get to I forgot to bring this up. Cody, Jake Hager. I thought it was okay. I thought it was just okay. I know, Alex, you really liked it. You said,
yeah, but the only thing about the only thing about the TNT Championship match is the way Hager lost. I feel like this might have something to do with a storyline with a new formation of the Four Horsemen team, and that match was kind of disappointing to me, just the way it kind of went out. But I feel like that's.
You liked the match, but you didn't like the finish.
Yes, I loved the match. I just feel like the finish was disappointing, but I feel like it has something to do with a storyline coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look at remember I mentioned it last week. I'm with you 100%. I think this is the start of a Four Horsemen group. Now I'm kind of curious, because that's when I was getting into the tag team main event. At the end of the main event, you saw an excellent main event, by the way, between Best Friends and Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. Now Kenny Omega doesn't drink, and he spilled out the beer on the floor in front of FTR, and FTR felt very insulted because they felt that Kenny could have just said no thanks, or he could have given it to Hangman. Now, if you watch the end of the match, now we constantly talk about Cody being in the future Four Horsemen, which I think is going to happen, and you said it too, Alex. It's going to happen eventually, but AEW loves to drag things out. This is what they do best, which is an awesome thing that they do.
And the end of that TNT match was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be not Cody. They swerve us. And because if you notice, the Young Bucks and Kenny were arguing with not just FTR, but look at who Hangman Page was arguing with. He was yelling at Kenny for spilling the beer out. Is maybe Hangman Adam Page the future leader of the new Four Horsemen instead of Cody? Is Cody being too obvious a part of the group going to swerve everybody and say, maybe we should go the route of Hangman because it's just going to be too easy to decide. It's going to be too easy to put Cody because everybody expects that. Or another idea is a guy like MJF maybe going to be a part of the group. Could MJF be in the Four Horsemen? That's another guy that you look at. But I definitely think they're going to make it. I know for a fact FTR and Shawn Spears are going to be in that group. It's a matter of who's going to be the head honcho. And the three names that I thought of were, again, MJF, Cody,
and then
Hangman Adam Page. I think those are the three names you're going to look at, and you're going to say they all have their pros and they have their cons to it. The pros for MJF is he's an excellent mic worker. He's a great heel. The cons are, does he fit the group much as a horseman? With Hangman, the pros are loves to drink, fits FTR perfectly like a glove if he'll work with them. The cons are he's pretty good on the mic, but can he be taken seriously as the leader? And with Cody, it's the pros are he's, again, an excellent mic worker. He would be an amazing heel. He was a great heel at Ring of Honor. And when he was in New Japan, the cons are, is it too obvious that it would be Cody? So I'm kind of curious how they go with that. Your thoughts, Alex, on who you think will be the one out of those three that you think could be the best leader for the Horsemen?
I'm going to go and say Hangman Adam Page because he has that feel to him. He has that obvious look that he might be the leader of the Four Horsemen. And I say that because his entrance video has like all of his ropes and everything. It's kind of like, because the Four Horsemen were kind of like, were they? I'm not sure if they were, because I didn't grow up in the era of the Attitude Era, so I wouldn't really know if they were.
They were old school. If you look back on it, knockdown, takedown wrestlers. Hence, you had the brain busters of Warren Anderson, Tully Blanchard. You had an all-around excellent competitor in Ric Flair. And then you always had a swap of different people on the Horsemen. You had Ole Anderson, Barry Windham, Lex Luger, different people.
Definitely, and I feel like Hangman Adam Page reminds me mostly of Tully Blanchard a little bit. He kind of has that side to where he can be more aggressive and more fury, unleash more fury on people.
For sure. I would probably have to say I like Hangman really well, but I just think Cody fits the group like a glove. And the reason being is because if we turn on the Elite and the Natural Nightmare and the Natural Nightmares, that's as good as it gets. Because Cody as a heel would be a great leader. But don't discount MJF. We have a few more minutes before we go to break, so let's talk a little NXT, Alex. We had the main event of Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks. I liked it a lot. I thought it fit the mold really well in the sense that I get what NXT is trying to do. They're bringing on wrestlers from the main roster, such as Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and they're trying to help mold these up-and-comers, but they're not up-and-comers anymore, really, like the Rhea Ripleys, the Io Shirai's, the Tegan Knoxes. And what are your thoughts on the main event? Did you like the main event of NXT? Did you like Asuka and Bayley getting involved?
Absolutely. I loved how they kind of pitched them getting involved and how the match went. Overall, I feel like the match was okay, but it felt like it was just too. It felt like it went on too long for me. I feel like the match could have been shortened a little bit, just a tiny bit, to give it more suspense and excitement.
So, looking back, what was your favorite? Was it Fyter Fest Night 1, or was it NXT Great American Bash?
I'm gonna say Fyter Fest Night 1 was by far my favorite one so far. I feel like NXT is gonna come back, and they are going to bring their best shot with the part 2 of the Great American Bash. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. And they have more unbelievable matches booked, and AEW, I want to see how everything goes and unfolds with them with FTR, Orange Cassidy, because those storylines and angles they had me glued to my TV every week.
For sure, and that's the whole point, and that's what AEW does really, really well. Now, if you saw the ratings war, and I know Chris Jericho mentioned it, the demographics, AEW won, but NXT won the viewership award again. So we'll see going forward. I'm looking forward to Fyter Fest Night 2 as a whole, but the match I'm looking forward to the most is Keith Lee versus Adam Cole. You know what I'm saying, Alex? Like, I'm looking forward to the Fyter Fest card, but the match I'm looking forward to is on NXT.
I understand what you're saying, because this has been a long-awaited match to see. People have been wondering when Adam Cole and Keith Lee were going to face each other, and now it's come to that point. It's come full circle, and it's going to be a winner-take-all match.
Absolutely, and that adds to, and you wonder who the next challenger is going to be after this match. I would imagine Karrion Kross is going to be the next fighter that's going forward. I think it's too obvious when you look at it.
Yeah, and he hinted it in night one of a Great American Bash in his promo.
Yeah, he mentioned it. He said it, and he flat out said, "I will challenge whoever's the winner. Don't care." So it's an exciting time. Again, there's so much happening next week between the New Japan Cup, Fyter Fest Night 2, NXT Great American Bash. So there's so much wrestling to tune into, and again, we are always jam-packed. And also, don't forget, if you miss our show, you can check it out. You can check the show out anytime after we're off the air. You can check it out on the app. You can check it out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Follow us on Twitter too. Alex, what is our Twitter name as well for Off the
Twitter
Mat?
name is Off the Mat WWSRN.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you want to follow that for sure. We have so much news that we retweet, and we also both write articles. Alex has been writing great articles for the website for the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into our segment This Week in Wrestling History, so that's going to be awesome. Alex has digged up a great one, so you're not going to want to miss that. We're going to preview Night 2 of Fyter Fest. We're going to preview the second part of the Great American Bash. And then, of course, at the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to our finishing move. We got interesting ones for you. Again, happy 4th of July. We'll be right back. This is Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing? I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the-right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Everybody's got a price. Rest in peace.
Welcome back to Off the Mats with Alex Slows and Josh Silverberg.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Second half. We're not done yet, right, Alex? No. We got plenty more to go.
We got a lot
We
more
still
to cover.
more here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Off the Mat every Saturday at 12 o'clock. Right here again on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And if you don't know by now, if you need different ways to watch and listen to us, you can listen on Alexa Smart, on a smart speaker. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Download our free app. Okay? WWSRN is what you type in. If you have an iPhone, go on the Apple Store. If you have an Android, go to the Google Play Store. It's so easy. The app is so simple to follow. It's got great articles, and it's got other amazing programming we have here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You know, all the sports shows. This week, I know we have the MMA show with Errol Marks, who, of course, runs the station. Wise Guys, the big sports guys. There's so much to get into with our network, and we've only just scratched the surface, and we're getting up there, man. This is going to be huge, and doing Off the Mat for the network has been a blessing for both Alex and I. All right, Alex, it's July 4th, so I think we are going to be going with a specially themed kind of This Week in Wrestling, are we now?
Definitely, and we have NWA, the Great American Bash 87. As this took place Saturday, July 4th in 1987, the attendance was 13,500 at the Omi in Atlanta, Georgia. So we had Kendall Windham defeat the Gladiator, Sting, the Icon, defeated Thunderfoot, Lasertron defeated Spike, Jimmy Valiant defeated Basher, Barry Windham defeated Rick Steiner, Jimmy Garvin and Ron Garvin defeated the Barbarian and Vladimir Petrov, Brad Armstrong and Tim Horner defeated Angel of Death and Big Bubba Rogers, Chris Adams defeated Black Bart, Buddy Roberts and Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy defeated Ivan Koloff, Manny Fernandez, and Paul Jones in a 6-person tag match. Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express, defeated Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. Steve Williams defeated Dick Murdoch in the Texas Death Match. And Animal, Dusty Rhodes, Hawk, and Nikita Koloff, and Paul Ellering defeated Arn Anderson, J.J. Dillon, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Tully Blanchard in a War Games match.
So when I look back at that, I instantly think of so many great tag teams on that card. You have the Rock and Roll Express, you have the Four Horsemen, you have Legion of Doom, or they say the Road Warriors at the time, the Fabulous Freebirds. But you also had Sting. That's how far back this goes. So it's kind of crazy. You know, you had one half of the Steiner brothers and Rick Steiner. I'm wondering if that's on the WWE Network. I have to check that out. I have to see it. I also remember Brad Armstrong. Brad Armstrong was in WCW for a split time, and I believe that's Road Dogg's, I think, father, or I believe it is his dad. Don't quote me on that, Alex, but might be the case. Might have to do some digging up to that. But Dick Murdoch as well in the Texas Death Match, and it's crazy how far back the War Games match goes, right? Like,
yeah,
they're
definitely. They're doing War Games now in NXT, definitely, and it's crazy to think about how far back this goes.
It is, and I think it's kind of nostalgic in the way that you go so far back, because when we first started War Games, we thought Fall Brawl for WCW. That was what was happening, but no, it was happening way back in the 80s. So, and that's how far back all these groups have gone, and a lot of these groups are in the Hall of Fame, and there's a lot of Hall of Famers on that card that you mentioned. And you said it was in where? Atlanta, Georgia, you said?
Atlanta, Georgia at the Omni.
At the Omni? I never even heard of the Omni. Now I got to look that up and see if it even still exists. 13,000, huh?
13,000. That's a lot of people for a wrestling show, for sure.
Yeah. That time period, that's a huge amount of people for that wrestling show. I'm wondering, I don't know, maybe if we want to ask your dad, or maybe I'll ask my dad if they remember stuff like that. I'm not sure. My dad used to watch WWE back in the late 80s, so I don't know. And it wasn't even, and the crazy thing is, Alex, it wasn't even WCW.
No, it was NWA, National Wrestling Alliance.
It's NWA, so that's the crazy thing. So that's how far back the NWA goes back in the late 80s, and I think that's a cool thing that we have to remember. But we kind of wanted to go the route of patriotic today, and why not more than the Great American Bash, which goes before WCW, it goes into the NWA. All right, so let's get into it. We're gonna combine, I believe, right, Alex? We said we're gonna combine these two together. We're gonna give our thoughts on Fyter Fest Night 2, and we're gonna give our thoughts on Part 2 of the Great American Bash. So, Alex, do you have the card up for Fyter Fest?
Yes, we have Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy, FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and the Young Bucks versus the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Bros, Brody Lee, Stu Grayson and Colt Cabana versus SCU, Lance Archer versus Joey Janela and Nyla Rose in a single match. I'm not sure who she's going to be facing yet. It says to be determined.
I might have a guess. Do you want me to guess?
Yeah, go ahead and guess.
You're so eager. You're like a kid waking up on Christmas. You're so eager. I'm gonna guess Tessa Blanchard. That's who I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna guess it's going to be Tessa Blanchard. Because she's a free agent now. Now there's been so many mixed reports about her. I'm a huge Tessa Blanchard fan. The problem with her is, and I said it last week, she's very difficult to work with. The reports are she didn't show up to Impact because she didn't want to lose the championship, but she also didn't want to work, which to me doesn't really make much sense.
No.
But make of it what you will. You can't deny the fact that next to Charlotte Flair, she is arguably the best women's wrestler on the planet. She does everything. She's a great promo worker. She's amazing in the ring. She was the heavyweight champion in Impact. That's how good she was. She had a great rivalry with Sami Callihan on it. I watch Impact, so I love the rivalry between the two. I think somebody like her would really escalate the women's division for AEW. I thought they should have signed Deonna Purrazzo as well. I think they missed the boat with her. I know Kenny Omega explained why they didn't go after her, but I don't know. I think they need more. They need more on that roster. She does amazing. She's great, but she needs more competition. That's really what it comes down to, is she needs more competition for her belt, and why not somebody better than Tessa Blanchard? And that's why I think she'll be the one that faces Nyla Rose. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Who do you think it could be, Alex?
I feel like it's going to be Tessa Blanchard. People have kind of been rumoring about it on Twitter a little bit. I've seen a lot of comments on it. people think it's definitely going to be Tessa Blanchard.
It's just interesting is because can Tony Khan work with somebody like that? And will Kenny Omega be able to work with her? Because Kenny Omega runs the women's division in AEW. So the real thing is going to be, okay, she comes in now. You know, this is Impact's an excellent up-and-coming program because if you look on Impact, you've seen the last couple of weeks, we've seen promos of EC3 and Eric Young going back to Impact, but there's also reports that Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows have signed with both Impact and New Japan. So they'll be able to split dates with both of them. This is not Impact. This is Impact's also weekly, but Impact's on Access, which a lot of people, no pun intended, don't have access to it. Okay, you know?
Yeah, it's
basic cable people have access to. This is a weekly live show. Can Tessa work every single week and not be difficult to work with? That's going to be the interesting thing. Because I look at it to the standpoint of, well, she says she wasn't able to leave Mexico because she's living there with her boyfriend. Okay, but Pentagon Jr. left Mexico and was able to travel. So why couldn't she? And my thought is because she didn't want to drop the belt. So that's where I'm at with Tessa. It's a very complicated, complex situation. I know NXT is heavily interested in her as well, but we'll see. We'll see going forward. Which match for you, Alex, are you most excited about on night 2 of the card?
So I'm excited to see the FTR tag team match with the Young Bucks. I want to see how everything turns with the Lucha Bros, where they're going to fit into the storyline between these tag teams.
The Lucha Bros are my favorite tag team in the world. I could have this argument until the cows come home, man. Watch my Takedown Breakdown show Sunday nights with Lyle and myself on YouTube. And again, if you want to find us on YouTube, TV Radio _ is on Twitter, and then Takedown Breakdown Radio is on YouTube. So find us on there. You don't want to miss it. We have good stuff we talk about. I think Lyle and I on about half our shows argue who the best tag team in the world is. He says the Young Bucks, I say the Lucha Brothers. And we go back and forth. It's funny because we both think if one is not one, then the other's two. So it's like, okay, he thinks the Young Bucks are one, and the Lucha Brothers are, I'm like, no. The Young Bucks are two. I think the Lucha Brothers are one. You know what I'm saying? But I am curious where they fit in this. I miss Pac because Death Triangle never got to take off really yet.
No.
So I'm curious to see when he comes back. He's stuck in Europe. And, of course, a lot of European wrestlers are stuck, a la Jay White and Will Ospreay. They're all stuck in Europe as well. So I'm curious when Pac comes back, how he fits in with that triangle. It's interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I feel like this tag team match, as we stated earlier, I feel like the Young Bucks and FTR are not going to be on the same page for this tag team match at all.
100%. It's going to start issues, and you're going to see it because, of course, I'm not allowed to appropriately say it on here, but you know what Cody says on Being the Elite when he says, bleep the revival, and they made a joke about it. So, and it was so funny when FTR signed, Cody actually wrote a tweet saying, oh, I hope they didn't hear what I said. It was all over the place, but I'm very curious how that tag team match is going to go. I think you have 2 of the top 5 tag teams in the world, and you have 3 of the top 10 tag teams in the world. I consider FTR one of the top 10 tag teams in the world. I consider the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks top 5 tag teams. And this is no disrespect to Butcher and Blade. Butcher and Blade are really good as well. I'm a big Butcher and Blade fan. I just don't like that they're always used as jobbers sometimes. So that annoys me a little bit. I'm curious to see how that match goes. They've also added the Tag Team Championship match to the card where Private Party, who defeated Santana Ortiz, Proud and Powerful, to get a shot at the tag team belts against Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. And the reason they added that match likely is because, Alex, I know you wanted to talk about this, is to get into the fact that Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage is not going to be happening this week. It's going to happen next week at Fight for the Fallen. And the reason being Jon Moxley can't be there is due to the fact that his wife...
Yeah, she has COVID-19.
COVID-19, so you already know this. So, because he's taking care of her and everything like that, he was not able to make, and Renee Young said, if you want to go and be separate from me, it's fine, but Moxley didn't want to do it. And because of that, they moved the match. I'm guessing that's why they added the tag team match.
Exactly, and I feel like they needed to have a good fill. They needed to fill the time for this pay-per-view, and we know main events take up a lot of time for matches, and I feel like they had to make this move because they don't want to risk Moxley not feeling well and coming into a show in that condition.
And then, of course, you have Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho, which should be as funny, as comedic. I'm guessing they did the match already because Jericho already said on his Twitter it was one of the most fun matches I've ever done. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited about it. But, of course, we're running low on time, Alex. So let's get into NXT. We want to give NXT its due as well. And then we'll get more into Fyter Fest after. But, of course, we have to start with the main event. Keith Lee versus Adam Cole for the NXT for the NXT North American Championship and the NXT World Heavyweight Championship. It really stinks what happened. I of course am not going to spoil it, but of course there was an incident that happened where one of the NXT superstars put on his Instagram the results and the celebration and took it off. But of course, once you put it on the internet, people catch it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the picture. I'm not going to say what happens. I'm very annoyed. I did that. I shouldn't even have looked. Dumb me. Alex, I don't know if you've looked.
No, I stayed off my Twitter for that reason. I stayed off all the posts so that I wouldn't catch on to it.
Fyter Fest results, they were also posted too and were taken off. So people just they don't get it. But
no.
I'm still going to watch the match. This is the match I'm looking forward to for the entire Wednesday night this week.
Definitely, and I'm looking forward to this match as well. Adam Cole versus Keith Lee. I'm also excited for Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae. I'm wondering how that's going to turn out. I feel like Candice LeRae is going to pick up a victory off Mia Yim because they've been.
Sorry, Alex. What kind of match is it again?
It's a singles match because they've kind of been going back and forth in a storyline.
I think it's a street fight.
A street fight?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, that would make sense because if you saw on night one of the Great American Bash, there was a brawl between them. So this is where this match is going to come in.
For sure. And I'm kind of curious to see how NXT does this week with it being night two. You also have Breezango and Drake Maverick in action together too. They're facing off against the Cruiserweight Champion. Who is it, Alex?
I actually don't have it written down here.
That's okay. So they're going to be in action as well. I think NXT has a nice card. It's nowhere near as good as Fyter Fest's card.
No, definitely not.
But the key is, I think NXT has the most popular match of the entire week, and I think this is something that people are going to look back on and they're going to say, okay, AEW had the better card, but NXT had the better match. So, Alex, between both shows and both cards, which show do you think is going to end up the better show and why?
I feel like Great American Bash Night 2 is going to pull through and really kick it in gear. I feel like this Night 2 show is going to grab so much attention because of the main event, Adam Cole versus Keith Lee.
Yeah, I think that's key. I'm kind of curious because I think people are going to want to check out the TBD versus Nyla Rose. They're going to want to see who it is. I think a lot of people are feeling it's going to be Tessa Blanchard. We'll find out. I think Fyter Fest is going to be the one that pulls it out. I think losing the ratings war 2 weeks in a row is kind of like a kick in the, as they say, a kick in the nads, as they say, for AEW. And I think that this is a week where they're gonna have. I think you're gonna have surprises. You're gonna have some swerves. You're gonna have some interesting storylines going forward. And of course, you're doing another free pay-per-view the next week in Fight for the Fallen. So my guess is they had to do that pay-per-view because they didn't want to just make Moxley versus Cage on regular Dynamite. They wanted to make it on an event named show. So I can easily see it being a swerve. I would imagine the 8-man tag match will be the main event. I would think it would be. But we'll see. I would think that should be the main event. And Cole versus Lee, of course, is going to be the main event. So I'm kind of curious to see how it goes down between the two shows. I'm excited to see this Orange Cassidy Chris Jericho match. I'm excited to see the creativity. Chris Jericho has a tendency to put guys over and still make himself look like $1 million. He did it in the Stadium Stampede. He's done it so many times in the past matches that he's done. So we'll see. I'm going to watch both shows. You know me, Alex. I watch both at the same time. My wife looks at me like I got 20 heads on. But that's okay. I try to get her to watch. She won't do it. She goes, no.
She's just like, no way.
I brought her to a Monday Night Raw years ago, and she fell asleep during it. She fell asleep during it. I thought it was one of the funniest things ever. But we'll see. I think both shows would be great. Don't forget to tune into those Wednesday night. Don't forget to watch the New Japan Cup on Saturday, especially because our show is going to be on at 12 next Saturday. So we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to get the preview Dominion the next night. Also, don't forget, you can also watch me as well on Takedown Breakdown Radio, Sunday nights on YouTube, and on Monday nights, 90.3 WHPC, and Takedown TB Radio _. You want to check out that show as well. But of course, Alex, we have come to the finish. It is time for our finishing move. And your finishing move, you could go first, sir.
Okay, so my finishing move is I went down to Clearwater Beach not too long ago, and I took a visit to Hogan's Beach Shop, and there's a lot of cool things in there. They have replica belts, T-shirts, keychains, shot glasses, everything that you can name on wrestling merchandise, and it's really cool. They have some throwback stuff in there, like Andre the Giant T-shirts. They have Thunder Lips stuff from Rocky 3. It's an amazing store. I like visiting there. The staff is nice, and actually I've met Hulk Hogan there once a couple years ago, and I remember exactly what I asked him. I remember that I asked him about the Shield and his opinion on them, because this was when the Shield just started. And he's like, they remind me of my NWO days. They fit that realm.
Basically, as a group that swarms all at once. That's exactly what they like, a pack, as they say. That's excellent. So I've never been there before. That's something I've really, really want to get to. I know he has 2 stores. He's got the Clearwater store,
and then one in Orlando.
He's got the one in Orlando too. I actually have a wrestling store by me as well called Wrestling Universe. I've been there once. They're a really good store. They got action figures in there, signed pictures, some shirts. They have a lot of wrestling signings that go there as well. So my finishing move is, here it is. The report is that Kairi Sane's contract is up soon, and she is going back to Japan to be with her husband. She will be going back to Japan. This has been an expected move for quite some time now. NXT made her look awesome. She did a great job in NXT. She's gone to the main roster. She won the Women's Tag Team Championships with Asuka as the Kabuki Warriors, but she's been very bland. They've been having her become a jobber the last few months against Nia Jax. And I think WWE missed the boat. Huge screw up by them on this. This was a girl that was thriving in NXT. She had the pirate gimmick, and they really, I think, missed the boat on making her something that she could have been, and that's something really special. And they've done the same thing now with Shayna Baszler. I haven't heard about Shayna Baszler since WrestleMania. She hasn't shown up, and I just wonder. And with Charlotte Flair out with injury, and Becky Lynch on maternity leave, you're wondering how could WWE screw up this much in a women's roster that is so stacked? But like I said, and there's also reports that Io Shirai eventually wants to go back, because Io Shirai, you remember, she's engaged to Evil over in New Japan. So there's reports that eventually she's going to want to go back to Japan and be with Evil, because I'm sure it's very difficult for the two of them being engaged, but being on different parts of the world, different time zones, different everything. It's a tough thing to do. So that's my finishing move. Alex, great job. Awesome job today, man.
Thank you.
We did a great job. I want to thank all those that made comments on our Facebook page and sending us emails. We will get those phones up and running. I promise you that is going to be our next project. We surely will. A couple of things before we go. I'm going to mention it again. Takedown Breakdown Radio tomorrow night. You're going to want to tune in on YouTube. Just type it on YouTube. Takedown Breakdown Radio, TB Radio _. You can check myself, Loud Gillen, Justin Caracciolo, Scott Nebb. We talk all wrestling. So that's going to be tomorrow night. You're not going to want to miss that. It's just a bunch of us yelling and screaming at each other. It's the funniest thing. It's comedy for an hour. That's essentially what it is. And of course, don't forget here on Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Follow us. Not just us, but follow us all over the place. There's other amazing programming, okay? You got the big sports guys, wise guys, Down to the Wire, the MMA show that we have. There's so many good shows below the mic. And of course, the Morning Buzz with Ryan Hickey. It's amazing. Get up in the morning and watch it and listen to it. He's unbelievable. So check us out on our app. Go to the Apple Store. And if you have an iPhone, if you have an Android, Google Play, all you have to do is just type in WWSRN. The app is free. You can listen to us. You can read our articles. You can see our show schedules. There's so many good things going on at the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Not just us here at Off the Mat, but all over the place. Alex, have a happy 4th of July, my friend. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Don't blow your fingers off with fireworks. Hey, don't do that.
I'd rather keep my fingers. I'd rather keep them.
And for those fans that are going out today and that are going out to parties and stuff, please be careful. Please stay safe. Wear a mask. Be smart. Don't do anything dumb. Okay? We love that you're listening and viewing us every Saturday. Okay? So tune in to us next Saturday at 12 o'clock. Enjoy Fyter Fest Night 2. Enjoy the Great American Bash. Enjoy the finals of the New Japan Cup. And you'll tune in to us next Saturday at 12 o'clock. Stay safe, everybody. Again, happy 4th of July. We'll talk to you next week. You're listening to the Worldwide Sports